Come on. No, dude. Ah. Oh, good morning, all, or happy lunchtime for my friends in Southdowns and others of you living in the future. And welcome to Kal-bardr's Corner for this episode of Coffee with Cal. I am Baron Kal-bardr Gellir, Commanding the Meridian Cross, Commanding the Arctic Comet, Commanding the Pilgrim Star, Commanding the Palmer's Lantern, Defender of the West, and Reaper. Coming to you live from the Shire of Bordergate at the Quad War site. Yes, folks, we are live from the Avacal Crown List event. Joining me today is a dear, sweet friend of mine, live here in person. She has legs. I can see them. The amazing, the awesome, one of the newest Laurel. I can't say the newest anymore because they made one last night. So she's the second newest Laurel in Avacal.
Less shiny.
You're less shiny now. You're like, you were cool yesterday. Now it's like, meh. This is Mu'allima A'isha Rayhana al-Karim.
Oh my goodness, you got it correct.
Yeah!
Ding,
Got
ding,
it.
ding, ding, ding.
Your Excellency, do please introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us about who you are, where you're from, and why you're awesome.
Because I'm me.
There you
Hi,
go.
I'm Aisha. I am from the Kingdom of Avacal. I currently live in the barony of Borealis, though I have lived in all 3 baronies of this beautiful, beautiful kingdom.
Ooh.
And I am the less shiny new scribal laurel of Avacal.
Nice.
Yes.
And previous countess, previous queen of Avacal as well.
I was the plague queen of
The
Avacal.
Plague Queen.
So I actually like that title.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I'm the Black Rose of Avacal because, you know, roses. So I actually really like that title. So,
It fits with your personality from what I've seen. Do I like that?
so
All
yes,
right.
previous plague queen of Avacal.
Well, thank you for being here this morning. I'm excited. We have plenty of things to talk about. But of course, first, we must talk about our beans because this show is coffee themed. Now, I know I have to caveat a bit. Aisha doesn't drink coffee, and I couldn't find any easily this morning. So I'm drinking some crisp apple Okanagan.
Yes, Okanagan.
Aha,
Yeah.
Okanagan. So it's basically Angry Orchard we'd see in the States, except it's the Canadian version, bottled, canned up here in Canada. So in Canada. Yeah, so this, Maeve pointed this out to me at the liquor store we stopped to get 99 bananas because I also have to teach some banana dance while I'm here. I'm aware.
We have a peanut gallery.
So here's the problem:
over
I've got a
there.
live crowd sitting anywhere near me. Is they like to yell things at me
But
while
they're
I'm on
not
camera.
anywhere near us.
Of
They're
course
about
they're not.
way down there.
I can hear Blue from way over there.
Heralds. That's all we have to say. Heralds.
But it's pretty good. So it's the standard crisp apple, but I'm impressed with it actually. I usually don't stray from things I know, but
Okay.
I also should not be drinking cider this early in the morning. But here we are.
It's 12. You said somewhere else.
That's true. It is
12,
lunchtime in my home barony.
So
we're fine.
he's having a lunch with
That's
us
right.
for today. So
What's in your fancy cup?
I'm actually drinking iced tea. But I think you guys call it sweet tea.
Sweet tea. Is it sugared?
It is 100% sugar.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I'm very sugary and I'm very sweet, so I have to have sugar. So sweet tea. I'm drinking cold sweet tea.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about your cup.
My cup is beautiful. It was gifted to me when I was queen by Maya Sara. She's also a pottery laurel and a Scythian laurel.
Yes,
Yeah,
by Countess Maya. I posted pictures yesterday.
Yeah, so she made my beautiful, beautiful cup for me.
That's very. I'm glad she's here on site, and her and I got to meet yesterday, and which was cool for me because Maya's name is spoken in hushed tones in the Scythian community. She is one of the people you need to find. Between her and Ashoxi, there's people you need to find in the Scythian community. So when I heard Maya was gonna be here, I was like, I
because she's scary, or because
no, because she's like she knows things.
Oh,
she's like one of the people you have to find.
Because she's also scary.
Yeah, she's a little scary.
She's a little, but she's
the
perfect, lovely. I love her. A little scary.
But then she also does pottery and has some of her cups on site today. So I will be going home with one of her cups because you don't go to Canada without finding a my cup, right? That's what we do.
Right, 100%. Yeah, totally.
All right, so. Those out there watching, thank you for tuning in this morning. If you're on Facebook, sorry, Facebook streaming keeps breaking things. I hope I got it fixed quickly enough this morning. But let us know you're watching in the comments or the chat or wherever you are. This is what I've been doing this for 2 years. I have no clue where stuff is on the screen. I know where mine is. Yeah, there you go. Push the buttons.
Somewhere.
I see Party Dads out there. Welcome to Party Dad.
That was just Mai over there.
Speaking of hi, Mai.
We said
we're live on the internet. We just talked about you.
And so we love you.
You can come say hi.
I'm showing my beautiful mug.
Everybody, if I count as Mai,
She does exist. See.
All right. So if you have questions or comments during the show, please drop them in the chat. We would love to have them, love to address them as needed. We're going to be talking about a bit of a weird topic today, but I think it's one that is relevant and doesn't need the caveats we did for the last Buffett's episode. So
I don't. Yeah.
So we've talked about Buffett's on the show before, and so I had Baron Logan on as a man of color who got a Buffett.
Okay.
I was like, hey, we should talk about that because that's the thing that might be triggering for some people, right?
Yes.
So when I found out about your Buffett, I was like, that's a whole nother spectrum I never considered of, because I'd only ever seen Buffets that were punches or slaps
Physical,
or some physical variation of that.
Yeah.
And as for the knightings that make sense. I've seen some Pelicans took them as for on service and they made it make sense for ceremony. But I was like, but it doesn't work for everybody, right? So tell me a little bit about your the process of your Buffett when you first were like when you got announced. You're like, what am I going to do with this thing?
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna say I actually love Buffets. I grew up in the SCA. I've been in the SCA for 30 years. And to me, I love the weight of a Buffet, right? Like I'm sorry to say that's something, when you're waiting for the ceremony, that's one of the things that's really has some substance to it, some weight to it, right? And so we have people here who have Buffeteds. We had not laurels. We've had like pelicans, like you said, and mods and things like that with Buffet. And when I got put on laurel, I'm like, I was asked, are you gonna do a Buffet? I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a physical person.
Right.
Okay, that being said, I am a second degree black belt.
Right.
But I'm not a
you can kill a man, but
a physical person.
Yeah.
And I don't have a physical order. So I went around and thinking a Buffet. And then I was like, well, okay, what would a Buffet look like for an ANS person? Like, what would be the equivalent of that, right? Like, I understand last unanswered blow. What does that look like? That's not a martial. So kind of had a lot of conversations with people about what do you think that looks like? Like, if I had to say to you, what would be the equivalent? What would you give me? And I had a few really great suggestions. And because I knew I wanted to do something. I want that ceremony and that weight added to
it's a punctuation point, I think.
It's a weight, right? Yeah. That's something that the knights do really well is the ceremony and the weight of it, right? And not so much maybe on other orders. So I want to see that weight. And I've had a few suggestions. I had ripping scrolls.
Sure. Yeah.
The problem is I give all my scrolls away, so I'm gonna have to ask someone for a scroll to rip. That seems
or make a whole new one, which is a lot of work.
Right.
At that point, right. Yeah.
I hate repeating scrolls.
Right.
And so kind of went around and had a friend sitting at coffee, and I'm like asked him the question. He's my knight squire. He's looked at me and goes, well, why don't you break brushes? And I went, yeah, that. So these brushes to me, so I had paint brushes and their majesties at the time agreed that, okay, we'll do that for you. And the idea was for me is to have them bring my tools of my trade, my brushes forward. And that let's be the last thing you have. This is the tools of a student. And they took my brushes and went snap. And then they handed me all the pieces.
Oh,
right.
Ooh.
And then they said, these are the tools of a master, and they gave me new brushes. I was not prepared for how much that affected me. Right. When he, you think about it and you're like, that sounds really cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to break brushes because that sounds like a laurel Buffet for a scribal.
Yeah.
Break my brushes. I've had brushes for 30 years. They're my brushes. To have him do this, my heart went, it was like someone punched me in the chest.
Right.
It was actually a physical blow watching him break these brushes. And there was a gasp from other people around me, scribes, and what they're like, right? What the, yeah. But and then him pouring in my hands, it was a moment of, I didn't expect this to hurt as bad as it did.
Because they're just brushes. It shouldn't be a thing.
Right. But it was more physical touching to me than that Buffet could have been, that physical Buffet, because it was amazing and it was very powerful, right? Moment. Unfortunately, not everyone knew what was happening. So we didn't really say, this is going to be your Buffet and go. And it was incorporated really well. So I had to explain afterwards what that was. And as soon as I explained, everyone's like, well, that's cool.
Right.
That's cool.
Did you do wording around it so it was similar to a Buffet, or
we did, we did. But it just doesn't have the words of "let this be the last blow,"
sure,
right? And that's what people are ready for. Let that be the last blow. It was the bringing forward the tools.
Okay.
Let these tools be no longer used to you and snap, right? But for me, as a scribal path, that to me was a buffet.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, the funny thing is also is you go through your brushes and there's not many wooden brushes that you
I was gonna say, yeah, it would be hard to find a brush that would be good and breakable in a set of brushes
Right?
usually.
So I mean, I had like 2 or 3, and then we supplemented them
Oh,
with
sure, yeah.
other brushes because 2 or 3 brushes, you know, let these feet snap, here you
Yeah.
go, right? A little bit
Donna?
less.
You want to come say on the internet real quick?
Sure.
Come stick it on the internet.
Come hi, say hi to the internet.
Everybody, Donnan, internet.
Hello,
There you go.
internet.
We're discussing buffets and alternative to the punch or slap.
Yes.
Is what you should say.
I saw the buffet, your, and it was fantastic.
Yes,
I loved
thank
it.
you.
There you go.
That was so well done.
So I think that's a really interesting concept, and the fact that you had to the sort of the transition of that. See you, buddy. And so I heard about that, I was like, what other things could be done?
Yes.
Because it's a topic of mine. I am on my path to being a peer,
Yes.
and I'm like, and I have my peerage ceremony generally planned based on a Scythian myth, and I've got some ideas about what I want it to look like when it happens.
Yeah.
And depending on which route it ends up being, I have some endings different. But I was like, but the buffet was one of them. I was like, how can I work a buffet into this? Because I enjoy the concept.
Yeah, the concept of it is beautiful.
But
The
I don't
weight of
want
it
that.
is
Yeah, but I don't want that punches because it doesn't fit in with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Especially if I become a pelican first, it definitely doesn't fit for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was trying to think of it, and I was like, when I saw that, and I was like, okay, that's a thing. And then so we saw one last night during after the crown ceremony and everything, from a new mod that was created here in Avacal that I'm watching them start. And so
well, so watching this, I had no clue what was happening.
I figured it out quickly, so I want to hear your
I
impact.
didn't know what
of
was
it.
happening. I saw this mod, and again, we have had mods who have had physical buffets, right? And it worked fine.
Usually comes from the queen. Usually it's a
not here. It comes from the king.
Oh, really? Okay.
Times,
see,
right?
I've seen mods come from the queen, knights come from the king because it gives the balance too.
Depends on what it is, right? So we're watching this ceremony, and they're talking. Suddenly, the king talks about a buffet, and we're like, "Oh, okay."
Like he gave the standard warning.
He did really actually give the actual. Like, I mean, obviously nowadays we do let the audience know what the buffet is before we do it, and
especially for certain people,
especially if it's going to be triggering, and you know that's 100% great, and adding it into the ceremony is perfect, right? So he started the buffet, what a buffet was, and we're all in the background going, "Oh, okay, that's cool, right? Awesome, right?" And then the queen stands up, and we're like, "Oh, the queen's gonna do the buffet."
Wasn't surprising for me, right?
Which was surprising for me because again, our queens don't,
right?
Generally don't. I don't. In my history, don't remember seeing one. But don't get me wrong. I mean, there could have been. I don't remember it.
Because there's some stuff y'all do differently with the king and queen. When I'm talking about Ray, the fealty oath stuff was cool. We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how we did ours too, right? So the queen stands up and she's gonna give the buffet, and so we're all watching, and then we see the people. Like we have people. I don't know how it is. We kind of people gather around to brace them, and so people are gathering around with shields to brace them, and I'm like. Is she gonna push with the shield? Like, what's he gonna do here?
So I saw the safety glasses.
See, I didn't see the safety glasses.
I saw the safety glasses on. I was like, oh, wait a second, hold on, I know what they're doing.
And then the queen pulls out a rubber band gun and shoots her and says, "Let this be the last shot that's unanswered," and shot her with a rubber gun, which was phenomenal.
And she played it up. She fell back into the shield and played it up. But
phenomenal.
And I saw the queen even. She had a pair of glasses in her bag too, so she pulled them out, put them on, and took the shot.
And
so
the
she was safe.
Were guarding everybody else, and it was well done.
That was,
well done.
Especially because I think as a peerage that is martial at that point, but not physical the same way knighthood is, right? Yeah. And this person especially is a little chaotic and comical from what I've seen of them. I just met them this weekend, but I was like, oh, I saw the buff and I was like, this is perfect for you.
Puts it lightly, she's very chaotic.
Very chaotic.
She's not chaotic neutral. She's just chaotic.
So having that as an alternative, I think made sense because it had the same impact.
Yep.
It kept a little bit of the funny in it, but it gave that like punctuation to her peerage.
Yes.
That I think
again that weight.
Yeah, that weight that you don't get without that point.
Yeah.
So I was considering that after I saw that one last night. I was like, what can I do because that's a cool idea. I've never thought about being shot before. Yeah. And I was like, I'm a Scythian. I'm an archer.
I was gonna say, but do you do combat archery?
I don't currently. I'm working on it. So I've had a bow in there. That's the progress. So I was like, I could get shot with an arrow. That's kind of neat. Or I went with the have an arrow snapped.
Yeah.
That was I was like
one
both of them went
arrows that you've been using forever.
Or one that I made.
Yeah.
was the other. I was like,
Yeah.
there's options here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been toying with the idea because you've inspired me further, my dear.
Well, and
'Cause-
I think it's I like I said, I like the buffet. I
Mhm.
do. But make it towards your peer,
Right.
what you are, right? And there's nothing saying that it has to be a physical buffet
Right.
for it to affect.
Right.
Obviously, for me, it affected me tons more than a physical buffet would have, right?
Somebody said afterwards, you said like after you goes, I wish I'd have gotten punched because it would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I wish I'd have gotten punched.
The punching would have actually hurt less, right? Like I'm used to punching, right?
Right.
But yeah, it really hurt my heart, right? And to the point that I actually did, like I actually crunched in when he did it. I was like, oh my god, like, and I whispered, I'm like, I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah,
I wasn't prepared for that reaction. So yeah, I would have been punched. It'd be easier.
So have you seen any other different ones in your time? Yeah, obviously with you as queen, you didn't probably get to do as many peerages.
We didn't do any.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
We did a virtual reign. So yeah, I have seen plates smashed.
Oh, for like a potter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Old cups being smashed. I've seen that. I mean, I've seen kisses.
Right. So I've seen kisses. I've seen a
kisses.
glove strike. I've seen a
Seen that.
slap. I've seen the
Yeah.
punch.
Yeah.
I've seen just a push versus a punch.
Yeah.
So you have the same impact without the potential for
Yeah.
danger.
I haven't traveled much out of kingdom at all, in all honesty. I mean, I was hoping to when we were king and queen, but
Right.
didn't happen. So I only have seen AVACAL elevations, and primarily here it's a physical
Physical,
buffet, right? We're only now, I think Castro, both of us are the only two that actually not had a physical.
Right.
I mean, otherwise they just didn't have a buff at all, right?
Sure.
So I think right now we're the only two that actually had something that was not a physical buffet per se.
I think it's so, and it's because it takes one. You have to have. You see the first one, you're like, oh, that's a thing, and then it inspires the next one, and so on and so forth.
And I wasn't prepared for that either. Actually, the amount of people that came forward and were like, wait, what did you do?
Right.
Wait,
that's an option. I can do that. Yeah.
And then the conversations that started happening in our baronies about, well, yeah, that's great. What could personalized buffets look like now in our society and in our group? And so people are now talking about what would the personalized buffet for them look like, and that's cool and not something I was prepared for. I was just thinking it was a cool thing for me.
Which I think in general, and that's something that we see in the SCA a lot of. You don't do a thing like it's usually, okay, I've seen AVACAL and we do this way because that's the way we've always done it, and that's if you see it, you do it. Yeah. So it takes that one person to go, we'll do something different.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the creative part of our hobby is let's change what we're doing, because you honor the tradition of the why, but maybe with a different what. Right, that makes more sense for your persona or for your peerage or whatever. And
support. Like my lord was very supportive. Vic was like, yeah, let's do this. You know, what can you think of? Like he was.
And as a knight, that's I'm not gonna say surprising, but that's endearing to hear.
Yes.
Because a lot of the knights are like, no, Buffett, you got to have a.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's given buffets. I mean, he was king of Antier twice, right? So he gave a lot of buffets and one as king. But yeah, no, he was very supportive of, hey, what's your alternative? Let's think of some other things that you want, like, and very supportive to what my ideas were. And that was kind of nice too.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't get that. Well, no, that's not how it's done. And you know what? Yeah.
Because that's I can especially okay. So for those who don't know Vic, Vic is an imposing figure. He's a big, but then you mean he's like he's a little cuddly teddy bear. Like he acts all grumpy and grumpy. Then he's like, oh, this is cuddle, it's fun. So like I can see, like, especially as king, like I can see him. Oh, that's a big intimidating dude. Like I would not want to get buffeted by him. Frankly, he's big and terrifying.
But really sweet.
But
like,
super sweet. Yeah, super good guy though. So like there's definitely a juxtaposition of people when you actually talk to him and meet him. You're like, oh, you're a gumdrop.
Yes, he's very intimidating, and then you meet him and you're like, you're less intimidating.
Yeah.
You want us to go drinking with you? What's
turns out you're the scary one actually.
Well, okay, so that's actually kind of funny. Is in my laureling ceremony, I think 4 of my 5 speakers talked about me beating people up.
You're like, wait a second, hold on.
Right?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, and my night speaker's like, so this is the most times we've ever talked about killing in a laurel ceremony. Because I do combat archery, right?
Sure.
And I've done lots of. I was a yeoman in Bergenwood, and so I did a lot of martial as it was. So, but yeah, in my laurel ceremony, they had a lot of talk about me marshalling.
Your ferocity and things, yeah. Right. Which again, I think that's the peerage ceremony is about you, right?
Yes.
there are some things that by Kapora, by standard, we should do, right? You have to do X, Y, Z thing to make it official, right?
Yeah.
But past that, it's what you need and want.
Yes.
I think that's important. Which, like I said, the buffet's part of that. Whether the belt. So we always have releasing a fealty at the start of it, usually because you're in fealty with your peer, or whatever.
Right.
So that's always part of it.
Yeah.
Which I saw a similar thing done last night.
Yes.
But it was a pelican, and it was a mod being created. So he released her from fealty, even though she wasn't in fealty. Like they had to at least have that conversation on the field, which I appreciate. Like I saw something similar to that. Was nice.
Yeah.
But I think that's a point of these peerage ceremonies. We should be making them part of us, and I think more crowns should be doing that. More people should be doing that because then it makes
personalized.
It's personalized. Like the crown keeps some of the traditions of the kingdom, but also then does some of their own things so that it is unique to them, and their reign is unique.
Yes. Well, and it makes it more meaningful to you. Right. I mean, you can just sit up there and read and
go through the rote, do the script,
and they're like, "Yay!" and off they go. Right.
Yeah.
But
which I've seen that. I've seen that generic ceremony happen.
Yeah, but I think we're seeing more geared towards more personalized now than what we were before, right? Just because we're evolving as an SCA, as a society, right? So I think you're going to start seeing more of that kind of stuff, right? And that's cool.
Apparently, according to Viscountess Sarah, we have great friend chemistry.
We just met this weekend.
We did. So Aisha and I have been talking for about a month or two now. Via Mave because Aisha is a scribal lore, and I've started doing some scribal stuff. So
and I encourage that kind of stuff.
Encouraged, assaulted, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard. I'm very violent.
There's been some aggression. So I joked because we had the conversations, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I was threatened with a green belt." And I said that to Gwen at Penzic, and Gwen went, "No, Cal, she's kind of serious." Like, and I went, "Oh, crap! Hold on, let me roll this conversation back." It was like you're flirting with somebody, and there's all of a sudden real flirting like that. It happened. So yeah, that was fun for me. I was like, "Oh God, I don't know how to think anymore." She did. So we had a little scribal class last night, and we were working on some scrolls, and she gifted me a lovely scribal starter kit. That I'll post pictures of the full box now that I have daylight. Because I sent pictures of the girls last night, but it was like shitty cell phone flash pictures. I was like, I need better pictures of this box. But it is a lovely gold box with my wagon wheels and her like Ottoman Turkish stuff in the middle, and it has around the outside edge an inscription talking about it being my first scribal box inspired by her, and it is delightfully sweet. And I want you to understand on camera how much that meant to me last night. By the way, I don't often show it. Emotion well, it's the tism, but that hit me kind of hard. So thank you for that.
Yay.
Gross. Oh God. I just let it happen.
I love you.
Do you know Sarah?
Again, her and I are internet friends.
Right.
We haven't actually physically met yet.
A plague princess.
Right, and that's how we met with each other. Is we were playing Reigns together, right?
That was one of my fun stories of Sarah that I'll tell on the internet here. When I introduced her at the Rose Tourney out on Ontario West. Yeah. And that was, I introduced her as the Plague Princess of the Mists. And that got the ooh from the crowd. So
represent.
Yeah, it works out well. I did because Ivar preceded y'all, correct?
Yes.
So I got to introduce him in Adamar's lineage yesterday as the Black Ivar the Black Plague King.
King, yeah, because they started the plague and then we.
So that was nice. I got to when I found that out later. I added that's actually not written in the book that I was reading from. I added that after the fact because I was like, that needs to be there.
Well, he's Ivar the Black too, right? That's his full title.
Yeah.
So, right. And they were our ones that we precised from. They were awesome to take over from. So
he's been really there's been some really interesting people. So that's one thing I enjoy about traveling, and we're hell off topic here now.
We're really off topic.
Sorry, but it's one thing about traveling that I actually want to talk about some is seeing different customs and traditions. Again, hey, look, brought it back to the buffet there. And meeting new people and seeing how they do things. Because there's some things you're like, oh, I can look around a thing and go, oh, that's this person. I'll look at like Rourke. Duke Rourke is somebody I met, and I was like, oh, that's Master Joffrey for me. Because look at the figure, how he sort of approaches the SCA. How he does it's something I see people I know in him.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So it's interesting watching that and sort of picking out my people in the crowd, right? But then there's also the new people that are like, oh, I don't have one of you anywhere when you're
now
new.
I do.
You're
I'm
new,
gonna collect that.
So I got new, but then bringing new traditions. So last night I saw the riderless horse ceremony, which I apparently is a thing from Montier that I had never seen before. That I talked to Svava some after very Svava after, and she came over just bawling about it. Yeah, because apparently, so you were in there as well,
crying like a galore.
Right. So that's something. So for those, I posted pictures on my Facebook about it, but it is. they bring in this case, a horse banner, but it's to remember all the people who've passed since the last ceremony.
Right.
And the queen actually came out and hung tassels on it for each name as names are read.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people, and I was bawling in the back of court.
It's pretty. I love the ceremony. I hate the ceremony at the same
Right,
time.
sure.
Right? Like,
well, having seen all the roses come in with the banner, it was like, and like all of you were very solemn and like just a whole thing. I was like,
and
oh.
Then they start reading names, and some of the names I mean I don't even know, and I'm already starting to cry.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it's just that much emotion and power in that. And some of them were friends of mine who did pass.
Sure.
Right. So and the sad thing is I forgot that we hadn't put them on. So suddenly hearing their names, myself and Taib, we were both like. Like you're just suddenly bawling again, right? But I left it going, I hate this ceremony. Like I love.
Why do we do this?
I hate this ceremony.
Yeah.
Like, you know. But yes, it is because we Antioch is our mother kingdom, and so they do the riderless horse,
usually
but with an actual horse,
yeah, right.
Right, and they have a riderless horse, and they hang things on their saddle and their tassels, right? We can't obviously do horses here at that point.
It's not as regularly. It's
right. So we have the banner, and we modified that from our parent kingdom. So yeah.
which I as much as I like having the actual horse there, I like that because then it's something that can be like you guys hung it up afterwards, and it was displayed afterward, and then there were already some couple dozen on there when it came in. So seeing that and after hearing what it was, the impact was even there too. Yeah. So I posted a picture. My princess Ismay actually, they did a that summer at 40th year.
Yeah,
she got to be a part of when she was there. So that was neat to hear that because I'd never seen it, but apparently it's not unheard of in Meridier because they've done it in bigger events. Yeah. Yeah. So that was neat. What other thing?
You want to talk about fealty?
Fealty. Okay. So
I don't know what he's going to say yet.
So
this is off the cuff, people.
So this is again traditions thing. So in Meridiers, our fealty is sworn. We walk up, put our hands on the sword, swear fealty, and we're done. Right. Okay. Standard rote. Scripting similar, but we use the more Tolkien oath. Yours is a little different. Okay. Because y'all's is much more Ontario West inspired. Yeah. How they do it. Yeah. Because because having been a Westie and being a Westie by hanging out with them, I hear some of the similarities. So ours is very Tolkienesque, but there's the knights. The only thing that is I've seen done that's symbolic is knights will usually take their chains off, and the knights will wrap their chains on the sword, or they'll hold their chains on the sword. Oh, okay. That's the one symbol that happens. Yeah. I saw swords coming out, and I was like, wait, what happened?
They do the ring of swords.
So all of the knights put their swords on the king,
or the queen, both.
Okay. So then I saw all the mods pull their swords out and hand the hilt to the queen.
Yes. So both depends if so traditionally exactly that. Sure. Again, it's from our parent kingdom of Antioch. They do the same thing. You call up the knights and they swear fealty, and they call it the
collar of steel.
Collar of steel, and they put all their swords all on the king. But we did have a queen get swords on her in Antioch as well, because she's also a knight. So they did
Rifkin.
Yeah. So they both had the swords. Here most times the king gets the swords on them, and the queen gets all the mods' hilts on them
with their blades in their chest. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
And that was so. I've seen that. I've seen the collar steel during a knighting.
Yeah.
Right. And that is impactful, and something that is in my book of if and when I am knighted, I will work collar steel in there somewhere or some similarity, because that is the holding of the oath. Yeah, so seeing that turn back on the crown was
we do it
really cool.
Every time we do fealty. Yeah. We do if the knights haven't, they come forward and they swear like that on every fealty.
That's again, inter-kingdom anthropology. I love it because that is a thing that brings impact to the idea, especially for the crown. I think I'm not saying some of our crowns get lax, but I think that even if you were going to get lax, having a sword to your chest during fealty reminds you real quick that this is real to some of us.
That's the thing, right? Is the idea is that we're here to serve you, right? Right. And you're putting your trust in us, right? And we're putting our trust in you, right? We have your sword on us, and there's that trust because you're our knights, right? And you're that representative of the crown, so we trust each other. Yeah.
So how did y'all do that during COVID?
We didn't.
So what was your alternatives?
So we didn't. So we only had 2 live events as king and queen. And we chose not to do any fealty, or they could just stand up in their seats if they wanted to, because again, we were doing that 6-foot distance from each other, right? On the events that we did have, the 2 that we had, and really they were probably crown and coronation.
Right.
Well, no, we got coronated in a Burger King parking lot. So we didn't have a coronation. Like,
all right, I've done a wedding at a Publix, but I think a coronation in a Burger King parking lot, my Count Rainbow would love that.
Okay. We didn't really do a Burger
That's
King parking
amazing.
lot, but we like to joke that
no, it's a
among
Burger.
us.
That's the story we're telling now.
That's what
That's
we
the
all
story we're
tell
telling
each
now,
other.
yeah.
We all tell each other that we did it at Burger King parking lot. Again, COVID times, right? So when we did ours, we just had them stand up. And the amazing thing was so many knights who came up to us and said, no, that wasn't acceptable.
Yeah.
We want to swear on you right now.
Mhm.
And because we wouldn't want to impose, right?
Sure.
Whatever your comfort level was, whatever.
And during court, people are going to feel obligated to do it if
right.
you
So
offer
we're not
it, yeah.
going to call it, whatever. And the people that came up and were like, no, we want to at least swear on you. And then they would pull their sword on and put it on Vic. And we would do some sort of weird oath thing. But we never had the full circle thing, right? Because yeah.
Yeah, you never had it yet.
Yes, maybe if we're lucky. Maybe, but see now you're like, okay, well, wait, does that mean if we do reign again, that's gonna be another 2 years? Like, am I the bad luck in this?
So that's been the joke with so our current prince and princess were they took over. They did the same thing. They took over Tim and Ismay, and Ismay has declared that if it happens again, she's done. She's done. She's gonna be so mad with this because she there was a literally concern of, she goes, maybe it was us. I don't know.
Right? Yeah. The royalty,
it's not them. Please
the
don't blame
royalty. In all honesty, actually, the kind of cool thing on the that came out is the royalty who did experience the plague together. We had a Facebook group, all of us, and we were in the plague reigns, and so we were all able to support each other on a Facebook group with each other and visit with each other and stuff. And then that's kind of on this Facebook group is where we all came up with the idea of the coin that we were all able to give to any other.
The Corona Grate thing, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. In all honesty, that was kind of my idea thing. I actually was like, hey, I'd like to do this. What do you guys think?
I've got 2 of them.
Right? I was like, hey, this is a really good idea. What do you guys think of this? And then one of the other queens was like, that's great. I'll make it. So it was really awesome. I just put ideas in and people do them. Awesome. But yeah.
You're inspirational is what I'm seeing here. The rose.
The black rose.
The black rose. The
plague rose, man. So we had a group that was all together that we were able to, hey, what are you guys doing to engage people? What are you guys, what working for you? What is, right? None of us have met. Like, I've never met any
Sarah or Ismay,
of them yet, right? So yeah.
So Gulf Wars next year coming, right? That's what we're doing?
That's kind of the plan.
Excellent.
Because
Tim and Ismay will be crowned then.
We'll see, there you go.
And I happen to know where they're camping.
Nice.
Because it's in my camp. So
so what I'm hearing is you're putting me up at the event. That's what I heard?
We can chat. Yes, ma'am. We can talk. We can make that happen. No, it's that's what COVID did, and we talked about this a lot on the show. That's what I think what COVID did. It sucked.
Yeah,
it sucked. It was not great, but it did force us to have those interactions with people that we never would have, because that never would have happened.
Yeah,
you never would have met these people. You never talked to people, and then there's these things we never would have saw that would have been insular to Avacal forever.
I had the most amazing rose tea.
Mm-hmm.
I had a virtual rose tea.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And Countess Saxa created that for me, and I had roses from all over the world.
Because why not?
At my rose tea, right? And it was laugh and fun, and it was phenomenal, right? And we wouldn't have done that before. We would have had a rose tea with your roses, but yeah, it was pretty cool, actually. I would highly recommend a virtual rose tea anytime, just because it was awesome.
Do the one at the event and then do one after or something.
Right?
Do it on like
a virtual one.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Again, discussing period things, I've been like, I gotta have a virtual visual because people are gonna cut me if I don't. Because I just like I have a virtual presence, a little bit. Some people watch. It's like there's 2 people watching currently, which means it's Sarah and Party Dad.
Thanks, Sarah. Love you.
I love you, Sarah. So
make me feel good.
So speaking of playground, so I have Sarah's flag from Sin This War. So I went to, I did traveling heraldry for her. When she stepped down, she was delivering, she wanted to send awards to Shawnees and Artemisia. But it was her step down there, step up the same day. So she couldn't be there. So I was going anyways to speak for Shawnees Elevation. So she sent stuff along with me. And I had her flag from Sin This War that they didn't get to have. They were nearly get destroyed on the field with me. So I had her face with me. And I hired a small child to carry it with me. I still have her flag.
Was it her face or her flag?
It's her face. It's her face. It's her face on a banner. It's her
awesome.
painted on a banner.
I would just been holding a stick with your face on it.
No, I can. That was the next option. But no, so I still have her flag at my house, and I will hold it forever because she's not getting it back.
Well, so
Um,
it'd be kind of fun is to do go to an event and say, okay, all the plague rains all meet together,
Oh,
and let's all meet now.
Go for it, have a plague
right?
party.
Like have a plague party from all the past whoever served the plague rains. Let's have a plague party and meet with each other for once.
I would bet that if I toss that idea towards my princess,
Yeah.
that being, if something happens to our current crown, which we hope they reign forever, but not that long.
Not that long. Really not forever.
It's bad. Long live the king is now a curse.
Right.
Frankly.
Not forever.
Yeah. I bet I could toss that to her, and she might be willing to make that happen.
Kind of fun,
So
right?
I'll toss that in her
That'd be
direction. That's party dad. Both my Westie friends out there. So cool. I think that's I love the concepts of those new things in the SCA, and I think this is something we can talk about and
Look
see.
how bring it back.
Right there you go. Because it's a buffet or a way to do fealty or even just a different idea of how lineage collar works.
Yes.
Or how some of the different regalia. So like you guys mentioned, you don't do belts a lot of times up here for your associates.
Not so much.
I've seen Squire's belts. I haven't seen many other belts though.
Yeah. I mean, so that being said, we did actually just have a Mistress Mai actually just took an apprentice yesterday and gave her an actual belt, and I'm like, oh look, belt.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you and I talked about that. Yeah. Right. So because I know like Gwen wears a necklace. Huh?
We have. I got. Thank you.
So speaking of, we say Mai's name and then she pops up every time. It keeps happening.
I was saying you just took an apprentice and gave a belt because we were talking about belts.
Yeah.
Look, it's magic. Like a genie.
Actually, come on. So we were just discussing. We sort of off topic into different traditions within kingdoms.
Okay.
When Aisha and I were talking about, I mentioned about being belts for associates, and she's like, "Well, I don't really give belts."
Have that.
But you gave a belt. So why did you choose to do a belt versus something different?
I chose to do a belt. I did a belt, and I also made my apprentice a jug.
Oh, okay.
For her apprenticeship, but I used a belt because it's actually a legacy belt.
Oh, very good.
Legacy belts don't just belong to knights.
Love
so
legacy items.
My apprentice belt was made for me by my Laurel, a Shoxy out of Ontier.
Yeah.
She's so awesome. Sorry. To me, and then it went to my first apprentice, and she's no longer playing right now. So she gifted the belt back to me to give to Kate, so it'll be a legacy belt.
There you go.
Yeah, from Two Kingdoms.
Love legacy items.
That's the idea. So I think that's we're talking about different traditions, things like that. And having legacy belts like that for non-martial peerages is nice. We see it with collars, we see it with belts with the knights in the mods, but I very rarely see them with other peerages. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Yay, internet.
So you saw her twice now. Like she's not so mythical, right?
But we've
right
said
there.
her name and she keeps popping up, so it's kind of scary.
Amazing.
We're summoning the Mai.
It's amazing. It'll never happen again, but it's amazing.
Oh man. Oh god. I should not have drank this morning. This is
so again, it's not really lunchtime here for him. So he's feeling a little, and I don't think he's actually had breakfast.
I had a protein bar. It counts.
So again, as I said, he's never actually had breakfast. He's enjoying Canada land though. We are taking really good care of him.
You know what I haven't seen yet?
A moose.
I did see the Northern Lights. Northern-ish lights. It's a little smoky here. Canada is on fire right now.
Okay, that not all of
Canada. Lots of Canada's on fire right now, and it is smoky here, which means the fire is close enough to here that it's smoky here.
But it's not because it's 2 provinces away.
That's close enough.
We're in Saskatchewan, and the fire's in BC.
That means nothing to those of us in the States.
So here's Saskatchewan. So then here's one.
Okay.
Here's the other, and so we're here, and the fire's over here.
So why is it smoky?
Because it's just that. Welcome to flat.
Welcome to it is very flat on this side of Canada.
Over the mountains, flat.
So yeah, but I haven't seen the moose yet. I actually haven't.
You're not going to see him. No, moose isn't going to go wandering through the encampment.
Apparently, somebody saw one on the way in though. So mooses have been spotted on site, but not by me.
If I just pretend I'm a moose, would that help?
It's closer.
See, right? We are taking good care of him here.
They're taking lovely care of me. I've been watered and fed and alcoholed out the wazoo.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. They're very sorry here.
We're very sorry.
Very sorry here. So sorry. No, I did. So Adamar, as my payment for heralding for him, did give me a bottle of juiced moose mead.
Lovely.
So I at least have a moose to take back with me now. And then Maeve gave me a little moose mountie stuffy to take with me in my luggage as well. So I've at least been gifted moosin'.
I only give you plague doctors.
All right.
Plague rains.
How many banana dances have I seen? Your Grace, I have to apologize to you.
I don't know what that is.
She doesn't.
Maybe he should
I
do
have
it.
been slacking. I went to bed early last night because I planned to do it last night. Tonight, we banana dance, but I get 3 of them because that is how many bottles of 99 bananas I could find in Canada. Because apparently that's not a thing up here.
Is it like Funky Monkey?
It's a little okay. So
because Funky Monkey is a banana liqueur that we have here in Canada.
What the fudge?
Funky
See, I'm
Monkey.
being judged from like multiple, like a country away.
I love it. I don't know who you are, but you're
this
awesome.
is Duke James the Holy. Countess Aisha, Duke James the Holy. One of my hosts from 3 4 Fat Guys, and just an all around amazing person.
Anyone who sasses you has got the game in my
That's
card.
fair. So, Your Grace, I will. I have archery to shoot in a little bit, and when I'm done shooting archery, because that's now safety, I will then make sure the banana dance comes to Avacal
say
proper.
that he's done doing archery though that he's been drinking. So
I've had
actually,
one cider.
He's not doing archery at all. He's actually going to go and observe that archery course and see what it looks like here in Avacal in case it's different.
That's true.
Because we do things weird here, obviously.
Are you going to shoot the bow, like shoot the arrows backwards?
I'm pretty sure we probably have some goose who could do that.
Oh, that's true. Because you say goose, and I was like, oh, goose, because Canadian, but you actually have a
so
archery order.
Our
is the
archery
goose.
order
Yeah.
is the gray goose shaft.
Yeah.
Yes. So and they do when they come into the court, they'll come as a V. Or if they collect them, they collect it as a V.
Right.
Because they're goose.
Because they're goose.
They're geese.
All right. Coming up next on Cal-bardr Corner. So tonight I'll be back online with Their Majesties Avacal, Gunther and Aote, to talk about road to retention. See if the things can pop up. Come on, you can do it. There it is. Cool. So tune in 8:00 Central Time. So it'll be 6:00 here. Nope, 7:00 here. 7:00 here.
Wow.
I know time zones.
You
I
do
don't
not.
know time zones.
You do not. No.
I will come online when my watch bings and says, "Hey man, you should be online now."
Ask him what temperature it is here.
What?
You ask you what temperature it is here.
So they're like, "Oh man, it's 26 degrees." I'm like,
he's like, "I don't know
what
what
number
is.
even is that to me. I don't
Did
know.
You say a number? I don't know what's going on.
That should be freezing. I should be cold now, but I'm not.
You're
I'm
not.
also I am wearing my Meridies Minoan summer look today because it's summer in Meridies. It's chilly up here this morning. I won't lie. It's the coldest it's been today. Actually,
it was only 7 this morning. So
7.
Yeah.
7.
But like 7 degrees Celsius.
7.
You can Google that.
I will translate that later. Tune in tonight, 8:00. Also tune in 2 weeks. That Sunday, I'll be back with Coffee with Cal. I am working to find a.
Mimic you.
Are you mimicking me? What we're doing?
100%.
Okay. I'm working to find a night to come on to talk about active marshalling. That's topic I'll be talking about because we have some things happen at Penzic I want to talk about. But it was the idea of how involved should our marshals be, how involved should the knights be on the field while we're fighting. So I want to bring that up as a topic. So if you have ideas about that or have a potential knight or fighter you want to toss at me, please do that. Reach out.
So not physically toss.
I mean, if you could toss them that far, do it. I'm in Canada. That's pretty good heft. So final thoughts.
All right, let's go.
Alternative buffets. So the idea that we've said this a couple times now, I think the peerages should be about what you want.
Mm-hmm.
They should be you. It is the end of a journey and start of a new one.
Yes.
That's you. You've done the work. Yeah, yes, you've had help. Yes, you've been part of that thing, but it should be about you and for you. I think not caving to the peer pressure. Peer pressure.
I got that. Yeah.
Should be a thing.
This is your journey and it's your ceremony, and you have to remember that this is yours. And so you only get one time to do this. You're only going to become a laurel once. You're not going to become 3 times. So make it yours, right? And don't follow what everyone else does if that's not what you want.
There you go. Aisha, you are brilliant.
You're
amazing.
awesome.
No, you're fun.
You're
awesome. We thank all of you out there for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Come back every week. Come back every other week. Come see us in Avacal. We're up here hanging out.
Really good time.
Where are you at?
We're fun. Come see
There are good people up here. Travel to other kingdoms. I just saw a song pop in. She can attest to. There is some definitely benefit in traveling to other kingdoms. So do that. But for now, folks, that is an empty cup. I'm Cal, and that's Aisha. This has been Cal-bardr Corner. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye, guys.